Do you ever ask yourself, whose life am I living? We all want to feel like we're living an authentic life and one that is true to ourselves. However, that often stands in conflict with what we think others expect from us and want to see from us. In this episode, we will talk about why we care so much what others think of us and how we can start the process of living our most authentic lives. Hey friends, Mandy here. Welcome to episode 3. And again, I'm so excited to talk about another topic that I'm really passionate about, and that is being your authentic self. Be sure to hang around until the end because again, I will be offering you my most authentic bloopers. So, I have always had this desire to really live my life in an unapologetic way. So, one that is driven from the inside and from my own truth and not from outside circumstances or opinions or expectations from others. Now, the question is, what does it even mean to live your life authentically? Now, I just want to say from the get-go that living your life unapologetically and authentically does not give you the right or doesn't mean that you become selfish and arrogant and that you become careless of the needs of those around you. It also doesn't mean that you have to have your life figured out and to know exactly who you are, because in my opinion, that changes all the time depending on the life stage that you're in. And if you would box yourself in and say, I know exactly who I am, then you might be inhibiting your opportunity to grow and to develop. It basically just means to allow yourself the space to get to know yourself and to get to know yourself in the life stage that you are in right now. Because that changes. Who you are now is not who you were 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So this might be a time for you to redefine yourself and to get to know this new version of you. So it's allowing yourself that space and then not being afraid to show the world who you are in this moment on your journey. Now, this sounds easy and peachy. The problem is, though, we have a vision of what we think people think of us. Okay, and often it's true. Oftentimes people do perceive us as being a certain kind of person. And then it becomes really difficult for us to live authentically, to show who we are, because we feel we have to keep up this appearance. For a long time, a lot of people told me, oh Mandy, your life is so together. You've got all your ducks in a row. And in the meantime, I felt like my whole life was a mess. And it put such pressure on me to maintain this facade or to maintain this image that I've got everything under control. Now, this is what often makes us feel like frauds, because we feel like we have to maintain this outside image of who we are, although in our hearts we know it doesn't match the reality of what we're experiencing. And it becomes an exhausting task because now we attach all our value to the way that we think people perceive us or should perceive us. And it's a very unsustainable way of living, and it can become very damaging over time. You know how many times people have said to me, oh Mandy, I didn't think you were that kind of person. Maybe because they see that I have a tattoo and they're like, oh okay, you're that kind of person. And in that moment, it feels uncomfortable, right? You feel like, okay, but how do you see me then? Why am I not the kind of person who would have a tattoo? And those are the kind of things that disrupt us, and that's where we feel like we don't really know who we are and we don't really know how others see us, and it causes massive internal conflict. By the way, now I just enjoy the fact that people can't sum me up that quickly. Now here's the thing, I'm not asking of you to lay yourself bare, to share everything about you with absolutely everyone, because not everyone's going to be able to hold what you share in love and respect. So it's not about that. It's not about sharing and opening yourself up completely to the world. It's more about being completely okay with who you are, focusing on your own path without being influenced or mentally influenced by what you think others would want for you, or what you think how others will judge your decisions. Now, I've always found it fascinating, the question of why do we do this? Why do we value others' opinions so much that we would deny ourselves the right to just be who we are and live in a way that we feel is appropriate for us? Why isn't that so much more important to us than what some random person thinks? Well, we can take it all the way back to our tribal beginnings. When we lived in small communities, it was vital for us to be accepted and liked because our very survival depended on it. When that saber-toothed lion came storming into your village, you wanted to be behind the line of defense and not pushed forward as an offering. When the hunters went hunting and the gatherers went gathering, you wanted to be a part of the community so that you can share in the feast. Now, that all makes sense, of course, and even to this day, we are still to a large extent driven by that instinct. Thank goodness things have changed significantly. We don't have to worry about being, well, not worry too much about being attacked by wild things out there. And we can just go to a supermarket if we want to get our food. However, the need to be accepted is still deeply ingrained with us because it validates the fact that we're an okay human. If a group tells us that we're welcome in their circle, then we feel validated that we are on the right path and that we're doing okay. And that's perfectly fine, and keep honoring that because we are social beings. However, become aware that we don't have to do what everyone around us is doing anymore. Our survival does not depend on that anymore. We have a beautiful choice now to listen to our own inner voice and to live our lives independently. Because it was such an intrinsic part for us to fit in, and we often still live from that instinctual drive, we seldomly sit down and evaluate and ask ourselves why we're doing what we're doing. So are we doing it to keep up with the Jonas sis? Are we doing it because it's considered the normal and the right thing to do? Are we doing it because of social pressure? Are we doing it because we think that our friends and family expect it from us? I am very blessed that I was brought up from a very young age in a way that I was encouraged to think and decide for myself. Thanks, Mom. However, I also wasn't unscathed by my environment. Okay, so it's not just about what our parents have taught us, it's also about the environment that we grew up in. And oftentimes we've just accepted that as the norm, we've accepted that as the right thing, because it is scary to question it. But my friend, it's a new day, it's a new opportunity to choose the kind of life that you want to live. Never have we been so free as we are now to create the life that we want, according to our own values and standards. Now, of course, a huge thing that will come up for you is the fear of being rejected. One of the main driving forces for us is the fear of not being accepted, and therefore the fear of not being loved. Okay, so we assume, again, if we do everything like everyone else is doing, we'll be accepted and we'll be loved. Now, out of 7 billion people on this planet, I give you my word, there aren't many things I know for sure, but this I know for sure, you won't be accepted by everyone. Fact. So the question really is, what is more painful? Is it more painful to live your life authentically, to be who you are, and maybe potentially disappointing someone? Or is it more painful to constantly change and adjust yourself in the hope of being accepted? Constantly changing or trying to fit in sounds exhausting, and honestly, is it worth the effort, because you still don't know if the people will accept you. Now, another hurdle to being yourself or to live your life authentically, and I've touched on this a little bit before, is that you are going to have to question the things that you just took as a truth up till now. Things that you were told, belief systems, ways of the world that you just accepted as a truth. You might have to re-examine those now. And it might crack the foundation that your life has been built on. This can be super uncomfortable because not only are you rocking the boat a little bit of what you based your identity on, but also it means that you're taking full responsibility for your life. So instead of living from the space of, well, they said so, so it must be true, and I'm just going to live by their guidance, and if they're wrong, that's on them. You go from there to now saying, well, I'm going to start thinking for myself, I'm going to make my own judgment calls, and with the risk, or at the risk, that I might be wrong. So just accepting what you've been told frees you from the effort of listening within and thinking potentially uncomfortable questions. Questions like, is what I believe really true? Are the things that people say make you a good human really the things that make you a good human? Do the things I do every day really feel right for me to do every day? Is there maybe another way of thinking or another way of doing things? Now, moving into this space is without a doubt scary and also very lonely, because it might distance you a little bit from the beliefs of those around you that you've held onto and what made you part of that circle and that community. And that can be very daunting. It's like Jennifer Grant says, it's better to walk alone than with a crowd going in the wrong direction. And I want to add here that no one is really going in the wrong direction. Everyone is just doing what they feel right. So if you do decide to walk your own path, you are going to meet new people who may think in the way that you think now. And you will find a community where you feel it's safe to exchange your thoughts. So you will never really be alone. There will always be another group, but it's about feeling comfortable with where you are. So although it's uncomfortable, it is so worth it, and you can start doing it now, no matter what age you are, doesn't matter in what stage or where you are in your life. It's never ever too late to free yourself and to live your life in alignment. And just by the way, I think it is an injustice to the world if you don't give us the real you. We were all made in a unique way for a very specific reason, and no one else can fill your space. No one else can be you, the complete you, even if they tried really hard. There's a certain magic that only you have, and if you constantly comparing yourself and imitating others, then you scratch away their genius and you take so much away from that which you have to offer. That's not fair to us. Now again, I'm not telling you to just flip your whole world around and quit your job and leave your house and go all balls to the wall. Please be considerate of those around you. Include them in your journey. It can be very scary for them if someone all of a sudden changes. Maybe even inspire them to do the same for themselves and figure out how you can integrate a more aligned version of yourself into the life that you have now. Now, if you have no idea where to start the process, here are a few questions or considerations that you can take to get the process started. And I will also put them in the description down below if you maybe want to look at them again later. So the first question is what you think others are expecting from you really true? Are they actually expecting that from you, or are you just projecting what you think you should be onto them? There's a big difference. When you are in the process of making a decision, whose voice pops up in your head? So is it the voice of a family member, of friends, of someone who you feel is expecting you to make a certain decision, or is it your own inner voice guiding you? Do you feel anxious in day-to-day life about what you are doing? So like your job, your environment, your friends, your goals, your relationship. And if you are anxious, what about that is making you feel anxious? And even more important, what would make you feel less anxious? Maybe the anxiety also comes from the feeling that there's this huge gap between where you are and where you should be. Now ask yourself, should be in accordance with whom? And why is their opinion more important than your well-being? Imagine you were living in a bubble or alone on the earth where no one else could see you. How would your life and you be different? You can also imagine a version of yourself that is completely at peace and completely content with their life. How would you describe that person and what would they be doing? How would they maybe be different from you? Now, when you start off with this awareness by asking yourself these questions and really diving deeply into them, from there, once you have that image in your head and once you have those answers, then the next steps and the physical actions that you can take, the changes that you can make in your life will become clear. You can just allow these questions to circle in your mind, or you can use whatever method usually works for you, like journaling or meditating or talking with a trusted friend maybe. That includes dogs and cats and pets, by the way. These are also great questions to discuss with your friends and with your family and to help them on this journey and to learn more about them. So in conclusion, it takes a lot of courage to actually be yourself. It takes courage to say, I'm going to listen to the internal voice now and to live according to my truth. Again, the kind of truth that isn't causing harm to anyone around you. And that process is hard in the beginning, but the more you get used to it, the more you focus on your path, the more you focus on what you feel is right, the freer you will become, the happier your life will be, and the more confidence you will have. It will have a ripple effect in so many other areas of your life. Now, I would love to hear your thoughts, your experiences, your comments, your opinion down in the comment section below. And also feel free to let me know what kind of topics you would like me to talk about in the future. Now, enjoy the bloopers, have a good laugh, enjoy the rest of your week, stay true to yourself, and I will see you again next Tuesday. Mandy here with you. Why don't you go and grab yourself a cup of something of your favorite? That doesn't make sense, Mandy. That doesn't make sense. Truth and from my... It was going so well. So well. Oh, I forgot my ring. Maybe I should drink, then this will go better. When that cyber 2. Okay, so thank God. Thank you, supermarkets. We don't have to go and kill our food anymore. That's quite a difficult task to like our lives are our lives are. Might think that we can have our lives It feels unnatural and lying, dishonest. Well, we can take it all the way back to our trial. My chair is squeaky. About being wanting to feel safe from. It's not working today. So are we doing it to keep up with the Joneses? But once you start unpacked, whose voice come in? I've got a lot of voices in my head. Voice pop. And now these aren't step for step. Also, if there are any topics that you would like me to talk about in the future,